Gopi Janamalama Girivaradari Jasudhanandana Braja Janaranjana Sudhanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayom Vishnupad Paramhansa Parivajikacharya Asta Saraswati Srimad His Divine Grace of Charananda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai Sri Jagannath Rath Yatra Festival Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Premanandi All glories to some of the devotees All glories to some of the devotees All glories to some of the devotees All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is Madhya Lila, Volume 3, and we're reading from chapter 13 today. This is entitled The Ecstatic Dancing of the Lord at Ratha Yatra, which is a very wonderful chapter because it describes how the Lord, in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, was able to attract the wonderful vision of Lord Jagannath. If we could be so fortunate as to dance in front of Jagannath and get his approval. A summary of this chapter is given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Amrita Pravaha Bhasya as follows. After bathing early in the morning, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw the deities Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra get aboard their 3 cars. This function is called Pandu Vijay. At that time, King Prataparudra took a broom with a golden handle and began to cleanse the road. Lord Jagannath took permission from the goddess of fortune and then started in the car for the Gundicha temple. The road to the temple led along a broad sandy beach, and on both sides of the road were residential quarters, buses, houses, and gardens. Along that road, the servants called Gaudas began to pull the cars. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu divided his Sankirtan party into 7 divisions. With 2 mridangas in each division, there were altogether 14 mridangas. While performing kirtan, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited various symptoms of transcendental ecstasy, and Jagannath and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exchanged their feelings very blissfully. When the cars reached the place known as Balagandi, the devotees offered the deities simple food. At this time, in a nearby garden, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his devotees took a brief rest from the dancing. So in the interest of time, we're going to just read the translations and Prabhupada's purport. Although we'll read the first verse. Sri Jayat Krishna Chaitanya Sri Radhagre Nartaya Yena Siddh Jagatam Chitram Jagannato Pi Vishmitaha. May the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, who danced in front of the car of Sri Jagannath, be all glorious, all glorified. By seeing his dancing, and not only was the whole universe held in wonder, but Lord Jagannath himself became very much astonished. Translation: all glories to Sri Krishna Chaitanya and Prabhu Nityananda. All glories to Advaita Chandra, and all glories to the devotees of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All glories to the listeners of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Please hear the description of the dancing of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at the Rath Yatra festival. His dancing is very enchanting. Please hear of it with great attention. The next day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his personal associates got up in the dark and attentively took their early morning baths. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his personal associates then went to see the ceremony of Pandu Vijay. During this ceremony, Lord Jagannath leaves his throne and gets up onto the car. King Prataparudra in person, as well as his entourage, allowed the Pandu Vijay ceremony to be seen by all the associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his prominent devotees, Advaita Acharya, Nityananda Prabhu, and others, were very happy to observe how Lord Jagannath began the Ratha Yatra. The very strongly built Daitas, carriers of the Jagannath deity, were as powerful as drunken elephants. They manually carried Lord Jagannath from the throne to the car. Purport. By His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The word Daita refers to one who has received the mercy of the Lord. Lord Jagannath has a number of stalwart servants known as Daitas. These servants do not come from very high caste families, Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, or Vaishyas, but because they are engaged in the service of the Lord, they have been elevated to a respected position. Thus, they are known as Daitas. These servants of Lord Jagannath take care of the Lord from the day of the Snana Yatra up to the time the Lord is carried from the throne to the Rath car. In the Kshetra Mahatmya, these Daitas are said to come from the Shabras, a caste that keeps and sells pigs. However, among the Daitas, there are also many who come from the Brahmana caste. These Daitas coming from the Brahmana families are called Daitapatis, or leaders of the Daitas. The Daitapatis offer food such as sweetmeats to Lord Jagannath during the Anavasara, the resting period after Snana Yatra. They also make the early morning offering of sweetmeats daily. It is said that during the Anavasara, Lord Jagannath suffers from fever, and the Daitapatis offer him an infusion of drugs represented by fruit juice. It is said in the beginning Lord Jagannath was worshipped by the Sabras and was known as the deity Nilamadava. Later, when the deity was established in the temple, the Lord became known as Jagannath. Because the deities were taken from the Sabras, all the Sabra devotees were elevated to the position of Daitas. Sachitananda Prabhu, could I ask you to go to my house and ask my wife to give you this little package of prasadam? I have some prasadam that came from Jagannath's plate during this time period that we're just now talking. No, you'll take it all. but I wanted to distribute some of that prasadam to all the Prabhus. As we heard the other day, the Jagannath's kitchen is closed down during this time period, which means that the quantity is not available. But the Lord is still served, as Prabhupada mentions here in the purport, he's still given some special things, sweetmeats. So I was able to get some of those from the trip the other day, or last week, and we're going to share it with all the Prabhus. And it's interesting how Prabhupada refers here to the Dayatas as those who have received the mercy of the Lord, which is significant in many ways, because even the most unqualified, as we hear from Srimad Bhagavatam, even the most unqualified persons, Kirata Huninda Pulina Pulkisha, there's so many low-class individuals who, by the mercy of the Lord and his representatives, can receive the mercy of the Lord. Jagannath himself is coming personally, the Lord is coming personally, not only as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of course, and representing his devotional form, but also we have the deity, the wonderful deity form of Lord Jagannath, who's spreading that same mercy to the most unqualified and fallen individuals, which is very significant. I recently went to the Puri festival and for the first time, and to see all of these literally tens of thousands of people. There were well over 2 million people that attended the festival, and you can't imagine, it's just a wave of persons of all types. You can't imagine what it looks like. And I mean, most of us have seen maybe some film or some clips of what happens in Puri. You get a nice close-up of Jagannath Swami, which you can't when you're there in person. It's literally impossible. He's inside this, under the canopy of the cart, so you can barely see him. Although he's monstrous, he's so big. It's stunning, and it'll be, Srila Prabhupada makes that point later on in some of these translations and purport, how big Jagannath is, that he's so big that when they carry him, they have to rock him back and forth, and then lift him, and then put him down on a pillow. Rock him back and forth, lift him up, and then put him on another pillow. And this goes on until they finally get him up on the cart, which is just incredible. And all the while he's being held by here the sabras, and they have a beautiful silken rope that they wrap around him to lift him up. And we'll pass this around. This is part of that silk rope that they use to take Jagannath from. I want to get it back. But it's the same rope that they use to take Jagannath from place to place, up onto the cart, from the temple back, and then back onto his altar. Translation. Any comments on that? Any experiences? Love to hear. Translation. Millions, over 2.5 million. Wow. Well, there's some clips I have here. We got there really early. Well, it's a 2-day fest. This year it was a 2-day festival. Would you like to? Yeah. And we'll just distribute it. And there's also some Tota Gopinath Prasadam in there. So it's a 2-day fest. This year was a 2-day fest because every 80 years, some say 50, some say 80, they have a special puja that's done, so it's a 2-day festival. The first day is mostly a lot of ritual. The deities get up onto the cart and they travel a short distance. I mean, really short. And so we got there early on Friday when they were still doing some of the construction work, and I have some pics that show how the carts are built so beautifully, and practically there's no metal on the carts. They're just put together by pegs, and they're fastened to each other just in such a perfect way that the cart, I didn't even see any metal on the axles for the wheels, which is very interesting because you consider these carts, there's 16 wheels per cart, they're 45 feet tall, and they're 40 feet in diameter. That's just the deck. And they weigh who knows how much, and all the while, this is so perfectly done and so smoothly conducted. And I was watching some of the artisans. They were up there with barefoot, just climbing here, climbing there, and doing their construction, putting the carts together and putting the canopy on. And so Saturday night, we saw that. We went there early and saw them, or late we came, and no one was around. The next morning was very difficult because by 5 a.m. there's thousands of people, literally thousands of people. And they're all held back by a rope with that the police, the military are holding, right? One little rope that's holding back thousands of people. And it's an interesting dynamic there that they're trying to hold the ropes and the crowd is ever increasing and they're pushing the ropes. So the ropes go this way, and then the police push the ropes back, and then the ropes go again this way, and the police push the ropes back. And this goes on for literally 8 hours. I'm not exaggerating. It was 8 hours before Jagannath, first it was the Sudarshan Chakra comes out. There were a lot of dignitaries there, and so there was some space between the line and the carts of about maybe 300 meters. It's quite a distance because the President of India was there, and so they had to make some security arrangements. And so she was seated, and then the King of Puri comes, as Prabhupada points out here. The king came and would do his sweeping business, King Prataparudra. So the king of Orissa came and he did his sweeping affair, and then the deities come out. First comes Sudarshan Chakra, then Baladev, and then Subhadra, and then Jagannath Swami. And the way the carts are lined up, if you haven't been to Puri, the main road is called Grand Road, and it's about 200 meters, maybe 200 meters wide, and it's been totally renovated. It's in excellent condition. It used to be just a dirt road and a little teeny paved area lined with all kinds of shops. But all of that has been cleared out, and the perimeter of the temple has been renovated. It looks just incredible. You would not believe that it's Jagannath Temple. And then the Grand Road has been remodeled, and it's all brick, and it's beautiful design, colors. So along this road, the deities are lined up next to each other, all three carts, and they're waiting there. They're waiting for, there's certain puja that's taking place. And then finally, one of the carts starts moving. And you can tell this by, and if you go online, you can see how they go about that. They start blowing the conch shells and They're banging gongs. There's some 50, at least 50 people on each cart at the top, and some of them are pujaris, some are coordinating things, and some are just gonging. It's just, and blowing conch shells, and then when the conch shell blows, the whistle blows, and all the crowd goes crazy. They just start erupting with cheers and ecstasy. But just before that, the crowd was being held back by the police line, and someone brought out the 2 ropes that are used to pull the cart. And they brought the ropes out and they dropped it at the police line, which was a big mistake. Because what happened was that the crowd all of a sudden grabbed the ropes, not knowing that it wasn't time to start pulling. The carts the deities are still being serviced. But somebody took the ropes, and then another person took the rope, and pretty soon the rope was already spread out. And the police are thinking, what's going on here? The carts are not supposed to be moving yet. And so they got into a tug of war with the pilgrims, because the pilgrims didn't want to give the ropes back. So they were going back and forth, back and forth. It was amazing. They were so eager to grab Jagannath's cart and pull. And sometimes we have a struggle trying to find someone to pull. When we do our festival, sometimes it's a challenge to find people who are willing to pull. But in this case, they were just smothering each other, just right on top of each other. Just try to touch the rope, even just touch it. So we did. We touched the rope, but that's all we did. Baladev's rope. And we had a nice vantage point up in a balcony where we could observe the parade. But the crowd, when the conch shell blew for Baladev's cart to begin pulling, they pulled so hard that they broke the rope. So they had to again stop the parade. It took an hour to fix the rope, and then finally the conch shell blows and the parade begins again. And they pull the carts for probably about 100 meters at best, and it stops. And what do? They start doing some kind of a puja for the deity. So this is just the day before, Saturday, the first day. And so the deities after the first day only traveled maybe a quarter mile at best, and that was for 14 hours. In 14 hours, they traveled about a quarter mile. They were pulled, stopped. They did some seva, and it might have been Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's dancing that caused the carts to stop. Who knows? As we'll read in this pastime, how the Jagannath cart the Lord was so transfixed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's dancing that the cart stopped and he wanted to observe it. So that was the first day. And to get down into the crowd was very risky. I have some pics of how people were squished. Literally, they were really squished. There were constant whistles blowing from the medics and police line. There were constant palanquins not palanquins, but stretchers. And the 2 guys would be running through the crowd, and they'd pick up somebody, and they'd take them out. And again, they would come in the next moment and pick up somebody and take them back. This was going on and on and on, constantly. And if you watch some of the pictures, which I'll try and show here in a few minutes, you could see thousands of shoes on the ground. Because when you're pulling and the crowd is moving like a wave, and you lose something, it's lost. Too bad. Don't bend over, because you'll get run over. And so the next day, I remember Sunday morning, the day of the parade, there were so many shoes there, you could start a business. It might be an interesting proposition for someone. If you go to the festival, you could start a shoe store. You would definitely do well. So that was the first day. And then we came back the next morning, Sunday. Yes, Prabhu.
Were you allowed to enter the temple?
No. 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 We went to Gundicha also the day before, and there was no access. But they were kind enough to let us get close to the doorway, and we could take some photos. But no, there was no access. And as far as Westerners go, I don't remember seeing more than a dozen Westerners. And you're talking about tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people. And they were all so devotional. I was appreciating how, in the West, whenever there's festivals, invariably there's fights. Invariably there's intoxicated people. There's obnoxious people. But this is a whole different experience. They're all seeking and looking for the mercy of Jagannath Swami. And there's no fighting, no intoxication, no smoking, no drinking, none of this. And there's thousands and thousands of people. It's just incredible. That is the Gundicha temple. It's a nice pujari. He was very thankful that of ISKCON and its work. If you want to just scroll through those, go for it. And I'll just keep on reading here, and you can look at a few more pictures. The Lord Jagannath Deity was bound at the waist by a strong, thick rope made of silk. From two sides, the Daitas caught hold of this rope and raised the deity. Strong, puffed up cotton pads called tulis were spread out from the throne to the car, and the heavy deity of Lord Jagannath was carried from one pillow-like pad to the next by the Daitas. While the Daitas carried the heavy Jagannath deity from one pad to the next, some of the pads broke, and the cotton contents floated into the air. When they broke, they made a heavy, crackling sound. Lord Jagannath is the maintainer of the whole universe. Who can carry him from one place to another? The Lord moves by his personal will just to perform his pastimes. While the Lord was transported from the throne to the car, tumultuous sounds were made by various musical instruments. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting, "Manima, Manima," but he could not be heard. Purport: the word Manima is used to address a respectable person in Orissa. Lord Jagannath was being respectfully addressed by Sri Chaitanya in this way. So during the festival, throughout the parade, you'll see various kirtan groups, all kinds. There's different types. There's Matajis. There were some who were from, you could tell they were from the northern part of India. They looked a little like Assamese or something. And there were men from different parts of India. You could tell by their dress and even by the way they played their music. But everyone was just so synchronized and was so attractive. And this was sprinkled throughout the tumultuous parade. It was just astounding. And again, you can see these things online, but when you see it in person, these people, they're so devoted. Is that Gambira? I believe that's, yeah, I believe that's the Gambira, where, and Siddhabukul. Now that is Subhadra's cart. Subhadra's cart is black. Baladev's was green, and Jagannath's was golden yellow. And you can see here, this is the main temple, of course, is on the right, but all of that work that you see along the road there, that's stonework. It's not a carpet, it's not painted, it's stone. And it's just spectacular. And you can see how the carts are lined up from right to left. Baladev, Subhadra, and Jagannath. Baladev came out first. There was a separation there again. There's some beautiful artwork there that were done by some artists. And you'll notice in the background that there's the line of people. That was just incredible. To the left of them is water trucks that spray water on everybody to stay cool because it was so hot. It was really hot. And that's a little bit of the crowd. That's just a small section of people. This is our vantage point. That again is the temple. And you can see that if you haven't been to Jagannath Puri in some time, the whole front and perimeter of the temple has been transformed. It's a whole different experience. In the old days, it used to be just some stone wall that was about 10 foot tall, and there was some shrubbery and dirty things all around it. And only one gate was open, the main Nrsimha gate. But now, this has all been totally redone, and you can circumambulate the temple, chanting japa, and it's beautiful. It's just spectacular. And all four gates are open now, so you can have access through different gates. So, I believe that's Baladev. That's Baladev's cart going past us toward Gundicha. We got a chance to get real close to him before he started rolling on Sunday morning. And it was just incredible. It's just stunning how they're able to manage this whole experience. Rameshwar Prabhu?
I'm just so amazed hearing this. One time I was with Prabhupada and he sent me down to Orissa, and I was not allowed to go near what you are being photographed in front of. Back then, the priests of the Jagannath Puri temple considered that anyone who was not born in India was an untouchable, and Westerners pretending to be Hindu, and they had the craziest negative conceptions. We were not allowed to get near the temple while Prabhupada walked this earth. So look how the impression that ISKCON must have made all these years, that now they practically welcome you. It's amazing.
Yeah.
What a transformation that is.
Yeah, it is. It's just
So for Prabhupada disciples who have not been to Puri, I think we should go before we leave this body. Hare Krishna.
How do I connect my phone to this screen, Archita Prabhu? Because I have some video I wanted to show, live video of the parade. I don't know how to do this stuff, but I have some really, really great shots of the parade. Oh, that was going all day. That was we should have a fire truck too. Yeah, that was just all day. It was just so transcendental.
Naikatma Prabhu, I just wanted to mention, yesterday I was watching the memory tape of Shyamasundar Prabhu when when Malati Devi went into this import shop and accidentally stumbled onto Jagannath deities. She brought them back to Prabhupada, and they wanted to ask Prabhupada, what are these? And they were astounded, according to Shamsundar, that Prabhupada immediately started bowing down. They thought they were such odd objects of art, and Prabhupada's bowing to them. And when Prabhupada rose, he said, Lord Jagannath wants to come to the Western world.
Can we connect? Yeah, we need someone who can connect me to the screen. And then we can show some of these live videos of the parade. Excuse me? Yeah. In the meantime, we can continue reading. Although the king was most exalted, respected person, still he accepted menial service for the Lord. He therefore became a suitable candidate for receiving the Lord's mercy. Upon seeing the king engaged in such menial service, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very happy. Simply by rendering this service, the king received the mercy of the Lord. This is an incredible purport by Srila Prabhupada. Unless one receives the mercy of the Lord, he cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead or engage in his devotional service. Atapi te deva padam bhujadhvaya prasada lesano grihita evahi janati tattvam bhagavan mahimno nachanyam eko vichinman chiran vichinman. A devotee who has received even a small fraction of the mercy of the Lord can understand him. Others may engage in theoretical speculation to understand the Lord, but they cannot know anything about him. Although Maharaj Patarudra was very eager to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Lord refused to see him. But when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw the king engaged in menial service for Lord Jagannath, he became very happy. Thus, the king became eligible to receive Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. If a devotee accepts Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the universal Guru and Lord Jagannath as the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, he is benefited by the combined mercy of Guru, Krishna and Guru. That is stated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his instructions to Rupa Goswami. Brahmanda Pramete Gona Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Bhai Bhakti Lata Bij. The seed of devotional service fructifies and becomes a transcendental creeper. Finally, it reaches the lotus feet of the Lord in the spiritual sky. This seed is obtained by the mercy of the Lord and the Guru. By the Lord's mercy, one gets the association of a bona fide Guru, and by the mercy of the Guru, one gets a chance to render devotional service. Devotional service, the science of Bhakti Yoga, carries one from this material world to the spiritual world. As Prahlad Maharaj says, Maya Sukhaya Bharam Udbhato Vimudhan, that the devotee, just as the Lord, in his wonderful form as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Lord's devotees are also making plans. The materialists are making plans to enjoy and creating all sorts of fantasies and fantasy lands to entice the conditioned souls. So the devotees are also making serious plans. And the Jagannath festival is a very serious plan. When you see how the different aspects of it that need to come together, it's really incredible. When you see how the carts are being built, whether it be here or in Puri, because every year they build these carts. Afterwards, the wood is used as a fuel for the kitchen. But every year, it's a plan-making endeavor to try and give the conditioned souls an opportunity to see the personality of Godhead and engage in his devotional service. And as Prahlad says, that I am concerned out of love for them. It's not a sentimental offering. It's not a sentimental effort on our part. It has to be very sincere and devotional. And then the common or the conditioned souls, the innocent persons, will become attracted. And in Mayapur also this year they had another Jagannath festival, second one that we went to. Right after Puri, we went to Mayapur, and Mayapur had its local festival. They take the deities from Jagannath temple, they bring him by procession to a makeshift altar that they built right next to Panchatattva. So it's Jagannath coming from Puri to Gundicha. And they service him there for 2 weeks, and then they do the same parade backwards back to Puri. It's such a blissful experience, and the residents are so fascinated and attracted. Although the Jagannath temple community is Muslim, they're totally excited to see this wonderful festival being conducted. So it's all a plan. It takes plan making to make it happen. And just as we're making, or the materialists are making so many plans, we're also making many plans, whether it be book distribution or festivals or preaching or outreach. Or even the conditioned souls coming here and seeing a wonderful offering. So it takes a lot of effort, and it has to be done sincerely. It can't be done just, let me get through it. I don't have it. If we have time, I'll show a couple of videos. Otherwise, if we have any questions or comments, anyone? Yes. Prigupati Prabhu.
What would you say the people who are attending the festival, 2.5 million people, it sounds like for sure they're devotees. I mean, as you said, they're there to get Jagannath's mercy. It sounds like they're just more standing around as spectators, they're really into it, the kirtans and everything. So what's their appreciation of ISKCON? I'm trying to make a connection in my mind. It sounds like these people are devotees. So how is it that they're not like attracted to ISKCON and practicing Krishna consciousness as it was given to us by Srila Prabhupada, or are they?
I wondered that also, because during the parade, you can't see Jagannath. Practically, you can't see the deities, but people are caught up in the passion of the parade. So I was wondering myself, are you coming here to have a party? Are you coming here to see the Lord. But I think in the broader sense, I think we have to understand that these individuals have oh, yeah, that was it. I had to catch that for some reason. It just caught my eye. Right? That was something. I got a pretty good laugh out of that. But no, when you're looking at all these people, something in their lives has happened that they have the mercy of the darshan of Jagannath. There's some piety there. In some past life, to whatever degree, they're here now and they're in the association and they're hearing this glorification. They're seeing in a wonderful way how the Lord is being worshipped. That would be my answer.
Would they be considered devotees?
Of course. Of course. They may be of a different level, you could say, but they're devotees. I'm trying to get one of these that has some sound.
I have a comment.
Yes.
I think it's so astonishing. You see these photos. This has been going on for 500 years, these types of crowds of people. But out of the whole planet Earth, only ISKCON has taken this festival out of India and even all around India. Right now, ISKCON holds more than 100 Rath Yatra festivals in different major cities around the world. So how much they must love that. And Prabhupada gets all the credit. It's more than 100 Rath Yatras that are born out of what we're seeing on this screen. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
That is looking toward Gundicha. Keep in mind, Gundicha is only a couple miles away, and it took 2 days to get there. The roar of the crowd, I'm trying to get it, but it's not happening. But it was just a roar of people. I don't understand Oriyan, which is probably good. But whatever they were saying, it was just a thunderous sound of people.
You know, it's also interesting what you read, that Lord Chaitanya addressed the deity, Jagannath deity, in such an intimate and personal way. Not like when we pray to Lord Jagannath. I mean, he's addressing him in a personal name relationship. Very astonishing how Lord Chaitanya addresses Lord Jagannath so intimately and personally. They know each other intimately and personally.
That is Baladev. What I found quite interesting also was that in front of the carts, each cart has a set of 4 horses. Baladev has black horses, Subhadra has brown, and Jagannath has white horses. And when the the carts are ready to move, they have a couple horse guys with a little whip. It's comical, but it's really nice. But they blow the conch shell. The horns start and the gongs start, and then the guys with the whip starts shooing the horses, and then the carts move. It's really amazing. Yes, sir. Yes, I understand. We're going to be making horses for our carts as well. You can see how they move in like a wave. It's really, it's just amazing. The first maybe 50 meters of rope are nothing but military pulling on purpose, because they don't want pilgrims to get hurt or run over. So the military stays in the front part of the rope, and then the pilgrims get the back half of the rope. That's Subhadra Devi. She had her 4 brown horses in the front. One thing I noticed was that the crowd is quite big for Balaram and Subhadra, but when Jagannath comes out, the crowd, it doubles in size. Now you see those guys in the front pulling something? What they're pulling is some ropes which are lifting the brakes. The brakes on these carts are just big stumps of wood, big blocks of wood that are dropped by a rope down in front of each wheel, and it stops the cart. So in order to move the cart again, they have to pull up the rope, pull up the block of wood, and then the cart can move.
Question, yeah. Is the magnitude of this festival something new, or is this something that's been going on since the time of Lord Chaitanya, or even prior to that? Would anybody know?
I'm
just, because when I read the Chaitanya Charitamrita, you get the impression, yeah, it's a big festival, but I never imagined anything like this. Was this going on during the time of Lord Chaitanya?
I have
straight through to the British Raj up until,
Yeah, I have no experience. Anyone who may have gone to a festival, 10 years, 20 years ago, maybe you can compare it, but this is my first experience. There were so many people there that it was mind-boggling.
This magnitude has always been there. It's not something new. The British were so astounded. For hundreds of years, they were astounded seeing this festival.
Yeah, they even commented when they saw the cart in London, it rivaled Trafalgar Square, the Nelson Column, when they saw Jagannath's cart. So it's something of a different world.
Naikatma, if it takes 2 days to go to Gundicha, at night, do all the pilgrims just sleep on the path?
Yeah, they sleep everywhere.
They sleep everywhere to not lose their place in the crowd, right?
Everywhere. Now, the police are good about keeping Grand Road cleared out. If there's something on the road that is of could be of an obstacle, say, it's removed immediately. In the old days, what they did is, if there was a car, or if there was a cart, or if there was a shop, or if there was anything, they would come and pick it up and move it. Or even if there was an electric pole or a light pole, they would immediately take it out and remove it. Now what they've done here is they've widened the road. It's about 200 meters wide again, so that the carts can sit side by side and travel all the way down just before they get Gundicha, and then it thins out again. So now the gongs start happening, that's when the parade moves. Oh, so I'm sorry, we're going to have to cut it short here, but I have plenty of video. If you want to see it sometime, you're most welcome. But before you leave, if you could please grab a little bit of Mahaprasad from Jagannath Swami. No. Vaishya Sekar Prabhu would you like to distribute it, Vaish? See Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Devi ki jai. Yeah, Jagannath. There you go.